Hi, this is Eric Martin with Board Game Geek. I'm here with Dan Deneen from Albrecht Entertainment Group looking at John D. Clare's Mystic Vale, which is debuting in July 2016.
It would be available.
It's on display here at Origins. Apparently people like it.
A little bit. Yeah. So at Mystic Vale, you're playing one of 4 druid clans, and your goal is to save Mystic Vale, which is the source of all magic and nature in the world, from the curse of an evil king. And it's a deck builder game where you're actually using our card crafting system to actually build the cards as you play.
That's right.
So everyone starts out with the same basic deck. It's 20 cards. And as you can
they
see,
have a lot of empty areas.
yes, there are eight blank cards, and then there's 3 of the fertile soil, which is a resource, and then there's the key mechanic, which is the red spoil icon. And what that does is when you shuffle your deck, you take the top card, and it's called the on-deck card.
Here, I'll move this. I'll
Sure.
do this here. We'll do it right here.
Okay.
Show what's on camera. So you're going to have your on-deck card.
Yep, that would be on top. And now to start your turn, you would continue to flip until you find 3. You stop when you hit the 3rd red spoil. So that's the second.
So there.
There. So this is your beginning phase, which is your planting. You're setting up for the beginning of your turn. So this can actually be done while other people are going, so it keeps the game moving.
Right.
Now, what you do on your turn is you start off and you're able to make the decision, do you want to go straight to your harvest phase, which you would have 3 of the mana symbols available, or you can try and press your luck and flip over the next top card, because once you hit the 4th spoil, your turn ends and you're actually unable to purchase. However, you would get a future resource. This little icon would flip over and it's a resource for future turns.
Right.
So you have a press your luck mechanic, which allows you to actually take a gamble and risk to go through. Your deck will always be 20 cards, but now
So
you
deck
actually...
building, of course, is actually it's a bit of a misnomer, or at least it's used differently in how it.
In the sense
how we
of
think
you
of
can
it.
still manipulate it. You have, so with these 4 resources, you start taking a look at your level advancements. So for the game, you can buy up to 2 class advancements. There are 1, 2, and 3. There's no limit. You can if you get all the resources, you can jump straight to a 3rd level one if you'd like. And then we also have the veils. The veils are also directly bought with the different icons here that you can see. So the only resources available are what's in your field. So for example, here we'd have 4 available. So I could spend 2 here, and you pick it up and you slide it right into your card. Now, you cannot use one of these pictures to cover up another picture. However, you can see there's a top, middle, and bottom. So if you had a middle...
I've got 2 left, I can buy a fertile soil.
Exactly. And you put it in any card that's on your field.
Okay.
And then what would happen, that would be your turn. All these cards go to your discard pile, and then you start planting for your next turn.
Okay.
And you just keep flipping till you see
this as well.
Yep. And that fills in at the end of the turn. The veils, when you buy them, if you had enough, for example, to buy this, which would be 1 Sunburst and 1 Leaf, it would actually go into play in front of you, and it stays in play. And some of them have actually, this one's for victory points. That one specifically shows that every turn when you harvest, you would gain one of the icons. And so there's different abilities on the cards. Some of them let you thin out your deck. Some of them let you discard the top of your on deck if you're going to spoil. So there are ways to plant the growth symbol, which is the tree right there. Any card that has that cancels out 1 red spoil. So that's obviously a good card to directly have if you would like to put it on like the cursed land, because it would cancel that out.
Yep.
And then the side ones, this one is when played. The when played effect is literally when it comes off the top of your deck into the field. And that one would specifically say you may discard any other card in your field. So if I had this in play and that came out, I could discard that if I wanted to try and keep going and press my luck to get more. And you play to a set amount of points. For example, 4 players would play to 33 victory points, and as cards come in, do we have one out that has victory points on it? That would count as a victory point for the end of the game, but there are cards that when they flipped up in the harvest phase, that icon, the shield with the number, would give you 1 victory point.
Immediately.
Yep.
As long as you don't spoil.
Right. So sometimes you'll have that card on top of your deck, and you're like, I really wanted to play this turn, but I might spoil.
That's right.
And then once the resource pool, the victory point pool is gone, if it's the first player that ends it, the rest of the players get their final turns. If it's the last player, for example, then the game would end.
Okay.
But the joy of it is the actual card.
You do go once more around the table after the victory pool is done.
Yeah. Everyone gets the final turn as long as you're able to get in the deck.
Okay. Then you count your points. Now I played once and it felt very Dominion-y. In the sense that as we were learning, I mean, it's the first time learning game, so we had some turns where we did nothing.
Yes.
Lots of turns where people are pushing their luck and do nothing, or you just don't have much money. And then some bonanza turns where you're suddenly just like...
Yeah, you'll have like 9, 10 cards out, and you're like... So the early turns tend to go pretty fast, even into the middle ones, because you either have people pressing their luck, ending their turn, or you're going to end up with like 4 or 5 resources, and you're trying to buy. Another thing, you can always buy a fertile soil, and this is one of the few decks you can actually go through.
Right.
Like, you can pick any fertile soil that you like.
That's right.
That fits in with your card.
It's the silver of the game, and that you're just buying mana for later. Okay.
But being able to make your own cards and like cancel out effects that are on the cards, and like adding other ones. Like, for example, there is this one, for example. You can either put this on a card that already has a cursed land, or you could put it on a blank card, hoping you're going to get a higher ranked one, generally speaking.
Right.
So you can prep cards in advance. The way the game begins is that there are 33 of the level 3s, I believe 30 of the level 2s, and 33 of the level 1s.
But you only use a certain number depending on the number of players.
Well, so you always use the same level for 2s and 3s. The 1s, you shuffle the 33 card deck, and for 4 players, you would take the top 18 cards out, and that would form your level 1. So each game will be different because it'll guide directly how you will be able to do your resources in different ones.
Right.
The rulebook does have a description of all the cards and abilities, so you can plan in advance and know if you're actually reading through it.
Yeah.
It's been getting a lot of favor. Everyone seems to enjoy it.
It's a beautiful concept, and as talked with Todd before, and as you mentioned, this was not the original design.
Correct. So funny story. John Clare, the inventor, came to AEG, and when he was designing it, he designed Mystic Vale as an introduction to Edge of Darkness, which was the game he really wanted to sell, and we were like, this is also going to make a great game. So in a way, by learning Mystic Vale, you're prepping yourself for Edge of Darkness, which we're targeting for later this year or early next.
Right, which mentions in here worker placement, deck building, combat. And you're just like, it sounds like a million things going at once.
Much more complicated. Because in Mystic Vale, you're not directly interacting with your opponents.
Right.
In the sense, like, you're not going to manipulate their resources, they're not going to manipulate yours, you're not going to do anything to their decks. However, the game, you're still jointly going through the game, like with the shared resources, where
competing for the Vale cards up top.
Whereas in Edge of Darkness, it'll be more conflict would be available to me.
Okay. And it's interesting, like you don't want to say a training wheel game, but it kind of is. It stands on its own.
It's a standalone, but it's an introduction to the card crafting mechanic, but also Edge of Darkness.
Right. Okay.
That's just a fun concept.
All right. Well, thanks very much for the overview.
No problem.
In the same way that, of course, Dominion, like, it didn't feel introductory. It is complete. It is its own thing.
It is a complete
other
game.
people just take on and
you just literally branch off and you go wherever you like. So, but I believe Edge of Darkness would be a standalone. Mystic Vale would not be incorporated into it.
No.
Directly.
That's what I mean, but it sort of evolves from that.
Naturally.
You're going to get the idea of the card crafting and you could start, as soon as you start to see this, you're like, oh, you can imagine all sorts of different things that could evolve from that or use that system.
And like having like the different mechanics, like for example, like Cleansing Rain is actually one of my favorite cards. It's when played, you get to search your deck for any card and you put it in your discard pile. So when you play it, you're able to like go through your deck and find your worst card if you like. You want to thin out in blank, so you're not going to hit anything, or if you want to get out your spoils, because you can always look at your discard pile and actually count, and so it allows you to make an educated guess if you should try and spoil.
That's right. For the people who are doing the probability on what's going on there.
In one of the demos, I had a gentleman who just absolutely loved to press his luck every single turn. Every single turn. He's like, I'm just going to use the resources.
That's right. That's why I put them in the deck.
Exactly.
I want to use them. All right. Thanks for the overview of Mystic Vale.
No problem.